only took 6 months into a global pandemic and all-time high cases for the U.S. for you-know-who to come around on one of the most basic guidelines from the CDC. Take a look.
I'm all for masks. I think masks are good. I would wear, if I were in a group of people and I was close.
You would wear one?
Oh, I would, oh, I have. I mean, people have seen me wearing one. If I'm in a group of people where we're not, 10 feet away, but usually I'm not in that position, and everyone's tested. Because I'm the president, they get tested before they see me. But if I were in a tight situation with people, I would absolutely.
You think the public will see that at some point?
I mean, I'd have no problem. Actually, I had a mask on. I sort of liked the way I looked. Okay, I thought it was okay. It was a dark black mask, and I thought it looked okay. It looked like the Lone Ranger.
Yes or no, you're going to put the mask on or not? Just answer the question. Sonny, why can't he just say yes or no? And what do you think took him so long to come around to the mask?
Well, I think we're seeing for him sort of this abrupt shift in terms of his position on wearing a mask. And I think it's because there's this growing chorus among at least congressional Republicans that are saying you got to wear a mask because we are losing the battle with the coronavirus. We're seeing this surge all across the country. We're seeing the surge in red states that he seems to care about, in swing states that he must care about if he wants to win re-election. And I think now you have Mitch McConnell saying you got to wear a mask. You have, so many people, not only the scientists, but you have, the vice president saying you got to wear a mask. That I think that is why he is finally saying, I think, I look okay in a mask. I look like the Lone Ranger, which is kind of odd because the Lone Ranger, wore a mask across his eyes and not his mouth. But I think that is why you're seeing it. And even Sean Hannity on Monday night said, I'd wear a mask. I think masks are okay. So that is why I think we're seeing this abrupt shift, because he has to now say that.
Right. And he's also said that he's handled the pandemic well and that he still thinks it's going to just disappear. You buying this, Joy?
Well, what, if it's going to disappear, why is he wearing a mask? He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's such a liar. But the outbreak is being handled, really. We just hit an all-time daily record of 50,000 people in a day. 50,000 cases in a day. I like to point out that there's delusion on the side of both sides, because on the one hand you have the delusional president and the people who follow him, and then you have the Democrats, a lot of Democrats saying that he will easily be defeated or he'll resign. I've been reading a lot of that. That's also a delusion. Get into reality, everybody. Also, I was watching his press conference and he was bragging about the unemployment rate going down. Well, those are people who were furloughed. Those are people who are getting their jobs back. There is no job creation going on whatsoever. And by the way, not a word about this treasonous behavior regarding the Afghan soldiers in Afghanistan who were murdered by Putin's money. He gave money to the Taliban to kill American soldiers. Radio silence from the president.
So, Megan, there are a lot of calls for national mask wearing, people waiting for him to speak up and say something about what's going on, whether it's the stuff with Russia or whether it's the pandemic. What do you think is happening? Is he in a bit of is he trying to catch up, do you think?
Well, I think the point that Sunny was making is really important, because she's right. There are a ton of Republican leaders, including, you see pictures of Liz Cheney tweeting photos of her dad, Dick Cheney, with a mask on, saying real men wear masks. If you watch Fox News at night, which I think I'm the only host that does every night, you're right. The hosts have really changed their tune. You hear people like Sean Hannity saying you should be wearing a mask out. And I think as goes Fox News, as goes the president. But what's also interesting in some of these tea leaves, and I was talking about this with my husband last night, is Tucker Carlson, who is the biggest, highest rated man in all of cable news history right now. A lot of conservatives are really watching his show. He has a lot of new demographics of people watching his show. I'm watching every single night since the pandemic started. He is really turning on the president, and he's basically apologized for saying that Republicans that we have voted in office are abandoning you. They are not protecting you in lots of different ways. And he's also talking about like social unrest and the statues, but he's also talking about the response to the coronavirus. And it's fascinating fascinating to see in real time this sort of shift away from President Trump, which I do think could signal that A, maybe Republicans think he's going to lose, or B, are so disgusted with his response, not only to the coronavirus, but to a lot of the other issues that are going on, because we really have seen a lot of silence on Capitol Hill and from the White House in ways that have, quite frankly, been very shocking to me. I don't vote Republicans into office for them to be silent and, quite frankly, flat-footed in the face of all this. And I think there's a real problem in the Republican Party when Tucker Carlson is the figure that we're all looking to. He's not an elected official. He's obviously a very powerful TV host, but we have serious problems in the Republican Party right now. And I think, as Sunny noted, people are really starting to jump ship. And I think it has to do with the fact that the coronavirus is just not getting under control in the way that other countries have.
Yeah, I agree.